cloud. Good to go.
Okay, we will go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is a web-based call, so we are operating under the following procedures. This session is being audio recorded. Please be advised that today we are also recording the video of the proceedings. We will not use the chat feature in this meeting. To ensure sound quality, the default rule is at this meeting that everyone will remain on mute. Board members and staff will generally remain on mute except for when speaking or voting. This meeting is open to the public, but is not a public hearing. Therefore, no members of the public may speak unless specifically invited to do so. If a member of the public creates an audio or video disruption, they may be manually ejected from the meeting upon recommendation of staff or the chair. We appreciate your attendance at this meeting. Should you have any questions about the process, you can call our staff at 860-444-5813 after the meeting has ended. Okay. You're gonna do roll call, Jill?
Yeah. Okay. Ann Darling,
Here.
Michelle Cripps,
She's here.
Warren McKenzie,
Present.
John Morgan. You've got to unmute yourselves, and
He's here.
Kathy Gagnon.
Yeah, here.
Here.
Okay.
Oh.
Greg Gallup,
No.
absent. William Hertzfeld,
I'm here.
Lisa Marieski. Okay. We have all our regular members.
All right, thank you. Approval of the March minutes. I do have one change on the minutes. It's referring to me as Kathy Newland on the top, and throughout the document, it's referencing me as Gagnon. So if we want to make it all Gagnon.
Okay, we can get Don to make that change, and you'll have
Did
to make a
anybody
motion.
else have any other changes on the minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
Bless you.
I make a motion to accept the minutes amended.
Do I
that
hear a
were
second?
amended.
Do I hear a second?
I'll
I would
second.
second it if I'm allowed to. I was not.
Yes,
at
you
that.
are.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All in favor?
I,
Any opposed?
Aye.
And that I was in favor, correct? Okay. And any abstained? So moved. All right. Moving forward on the agenda. Application review, application ZBA 22-4, appeal of Matthew Scott McNeil, owner and applicant at 42 Myrock Avenue, R20 zone. Variance is requested from zoning regulations 4.4.1, front yard setback, variance of 13 feet allowed, a front yard setback of 47 feet, and 4.4.3 rear yard setback, variance of 11 feet to allow the rear yard setback of 39 feet. Variances are requested to construct an addition to the existing house as shown on the plan entitled Zoning Location Survey Property of Matthew Scott McNeil for the property located at 42 Myrock Avenue in Waterford, Connecticut, dated December 28th, 2021. Does anybody on the board want to make a motion?
Kathy,
Yes.
prior to that, it's Annie Darling. We have two people on this Zoom call that are not identified. Can we identify them?
Well,
And one of them is the town phone, that's Dawn that's called in, and the other is Rob Avina, the town's attorney.
Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. I'll
Hi.
be speaking to you.
Thank you.
all right. Does anybody on the board want to make a motion on this application?
I make a motion to accept
I'll
this
move to approve.
application, but I do not have my paperwork in front of me to give you the specifics of the numbers of the application. I'm sorry.
Okay. And John, you want to second that?
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay. And any more discussion? All in favor? Say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. So going on to old business, Attorney Avina is going to give us an update. Attorney Avina, are you there? You're on mute. Attorney Avina, you're on mute.
I'm
There you
trying to
go.
unmute.
Are you with us?
Rob, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
He's on mute again.
Do we say here, Houston, we have a problem?
All right. Can you hear me now?
There we
Yay!
are.
We won't make any jokes about lawyers tonight. No, we won't do.
Never,
Okay.
never, never.
I won't explain what I just did because it's too silly. So we'll leave that alone.
That's fine.
Hi, everybody. So we're back on old business. It's a long story, but bringing it back to earth, we have been on several extensions with the consent of the applicant. The applicant being the party who's appealing Jill's order regarding the permit granted to Philomena's under the zoning regulations for special events next summer. So that appeal, which was properly filed, has been pending. I've been in discussions with the consul, the attorney who filed it, and there was a couple different possibilities there about attempting to resolve it prior to a hearing. Thus, the attorney kept agreeing to postpone it. Now we're sort of running into some deadlines, and we are now proposing things could change, but at the moment, we're looking for a special meeting of the board. And if I get this wrong, Jill will correct me. But I think we're looking now to set down a special meeting of the board and hopefully have 5 disinterested persons available to hear the appeal. May 11th, is that correct, Jill?
May 12th. It's a Thursday. We have,
Yeah.
the auditorium is booked pretty solid. So that was about the only day we could get the first 2 weeks in May.
So first, I'm going to describe to you again what the procedure is, and then make sure that, given everyone's schedule and any possible conflicts or conflict of interest, that I want to make sure in these types of appeals, it's pretty important that we have 5 members ready to be seated and available when you're overturning a zoning officer, as this appeal is attempting to do, they must, similar to a variance, they must do it by a 4-1 or a 5-0 vote. So most attorneys certainly don't want to go forward with just 4 members. So we want to make sure we get a poll now that we have 5 available members. And then the last thing, and again, let me go through 2 seconds on procedure. We don't do many of these. This is the procedure, much like the Granite House appeal that occurred several years ago that I know Kathy probably remembers, in which I will be representing Jill, and we will open, as the statute requires, with explaining to the board, who must be entirely neutral, even though you've heard of it, I'm sure. But we will explain to the board the actions the zoning officer took on the issue that's being appealed, that we had an application, that we reviewed it, and then Jill issued a permit and put all that into exhibits for you. And when we were done with that simple presentation, the board can certainly ask Jill questions. And then we turn it over to the attorney for the applicant, who will argue whether or not Jill's actions were proper or not. You will have special counsel that I've arranged for. It's the law firm of Richard Barger, who I've worked with on several issues in my history as town attorney, but he's from out of the area and his law firm is from north of here. So they're definitely not in any way involved with any of the players in this appeal, be it the town of Waterford, the restaurant, the applicant, or any of the attorneys. So he's a very disinterested attorney, but he's very experienced, and he will be there that night, or his partner, who's also very good. They both, depending on their schedules, will have someone there, and they'll be there to help with any rulings the board has to do. And then when you go into deliberations, of course, it's only your attorney that gets to speak, and that will be the attorney assigned to the board. So that's kind of the setup we're looking at. And again, I think I mentioned this last time. You may be aware of the controversy regarding the restaurant and the noise issues. That's okay. But if you're from the neighborhood, or you have not been neutral on the issue, but have rather advocated for either the restaurant or the neighbors, then I would ask you to not participate. And when we do this poll in a second, I just want to make sure between the alternates and the regular members that everybody who's available that night tells us that we try to come up to 5, and that no one who under the statutes has a conflict of interest should sit on this one. So with those 2 caveats, hopefully we can now ask everybody, with your conscience clear, can you serve on this appeal, and can you be available Thursday, May 12th? So perhaps we can start with the chair and go from there.
So I am comfortable presiding on the subject. I'm gonna disclose I once rented a house from Mike Bassetto 6 years ago when I was going through my divorce, but other than that, that's
And I think, again, you can state that for the record
Yeah.
when the hearing opens. Should obviously make any statements to that effect. I don't think that's an issue. We'll let the other attorney address it, and then let the attorney for the board address it. But I think for now, we'll put you in the yes column.
okay.
Next.
And yes, I'm available on May 12th.
Oh, thanks, Kath.
Why don't we just go down the list? Anne? You're on mute.
I am going to have to take myself off of this. I know the applicant personally, and I don't feel comfortable talking or residing, making the decision. But may I ask a question? I thought, I'm very confused with this. It may
Okay.
be, it might be not even important because I'm not gonna sit on and make a vote. But we went from, there were problems in the neighborhood. Jill made a statement or that there were certain criteria they had to abide by. And then Philomena's were against that. Then they backed off, and now we're back here. And I'm not understanding how we're back here deliberating.
Sure.
Thank you.
It will all be filled in, obviously, that night, so that all
Okay.
questions
All right.
will be answered. But, what happened, again, going back to the original Philomena concerts,
Yes.
was that we identified that those were not under the governor's orders and are not permitted in town at that
Yes.
specific location, except on the sidewalk of the restaurant, not into the parking lot.
Yes.
However, upon my review and with the assistance of staff, we did discover that about a year ago or so, the Planning and Zoning Commission, in their wisdom, had actually amended an ordinance in town, a zoning regulation, that allows for special events, much like when we were kids, the Cohansey Carnival or something of that nature. I guess Oswegatchie had one last summer. And those special events are allowed now, not just by municipal agencies or nonprofits like the firehouses, but people or businesses can actually apply for them.
Okay.
So the restaurant was notified that if you follow the right regulations and get a proper permit, that you might be able to hold such events provided you follow the standards in the permit. So those will be explained at the appeal. Obviously, I don't want to get into too much detail, but it
No,
is
that's
that
fine. Thank
permit.
you.
So
Will I
Sure.
be able to attend that with and?
no, I
without-
think if anyone with a conflict, I would say if we can get to our magic number here, that since
Okay.
it's a special meeting, you do have a choice. I can't constitutionally tell a member of the board that you can't come and it's going to be live, sit in the audience. That's your privilege if you wish.
I thank you for all the information. You cleared it up.
Sure.
And good luck. And
All
I
right,
hope we
we're
can
next.
Get our numbers. Go ahead.
Okay, Michelle?
Yes, I'm available and I don't have a conflict.
Thank you.
John?
Well, I've got a caucus for the probate judge election that night. I don't know what time it's going to be, but I've already signed up with the DTC to do that. That can probably be adjusted. But regardless, would we be able to have all of the documents that would be informing this in advance? Because it seems to me with whatever rulings have been already made internally, to be sort of given an overview that night is insufficient for being able to consider the wisdom of that or anything to be able to weigh in on it.
Yeah, you'll get a package, John. Thank you. You'll get a package of the exhibits. We can have those to you ahead of time.
Okay.
So you will have them prior to the night of the hearing. They aren't very big. Remember, you got to focus. It's just on a strict appeal of the issuance of a permit pursuant to a section of our zoning regulations. I mean, there's a lot of back history here I've tried to fill everybody in on, but that's really the only appeal pending.
Okay.
So it's actually a very straightforward, was the permit correctly issued? but you will have the backup for that. And don't forget, as you do in every meeting these days, I don't think you should decide that night. I think you should, there might be lots of people there. It could take a while to get the evidence in. And then you should close the public hearing and move on to your next meeting, and you'll be able to study the tape and all the exhibits in the meantime.
Oh, so decision
We'll
won't
give you
be,
plenty of time.
a decision won't be rendered that night.
No, my goal would be, and I would recommend on behalf of the zoning officer, and we'll see what your own attorney says for the board, but I would say try to open and close the public hearing that night. There might be lots of public. We anticipate people might be there to comment on behalf of the applicant, and there might be people there to comment on behalf of the restaurant. So it could be a longer meeting than you're used to, maybe an hour or two.
All right.
So John, are
Thank you.
you,
Now, if you had, and yeah, I'm sorry, I just don't know if to sign you up or not. Do you know anything more about this? I'm fascinated by the whole probate judge thing. I've never heard of
Yeah,
this, but
I'd like to
yeah.
see Matt Green again, but, no, I
Okay,
don't know, except that it's for that night. I haven't heard it, if there's a date. It's a slam dunk that he's gonna, be on the ballot. So it's more of a going
Well,
through the motion,
I'm just, yeah,
having cups.
let's go through and see what we have. We may need you, I guess, might be my plea, but
Okay.
let's see who else we have.
And I would take this over as a priority over that, because I think we can adjust,
Appreciate it.
take my place there, and we need numbers here, so so you can count me in.
Next.
Warren?
I know the owner of Philomena's. I've just met him in passing once or twice, and I've eaten there before. I mean, I don't think that really constitutes a conflict in my mind.
No, I don't see a problem, but you certainly can state that to start the meeting so everyone in the audience and the lawyers know that. But I would imagine that does not constitute a legal conflict.
No, I wouldn't think so. So then I would count myself in. I should be good to go for the 12th. So
All right, next.
Greg Gallup is an alternate. He's not present tonight, and neither is Jason Marieski. We do have William Hertzfeld.
Hi, make sure, okay. I am an aggrieved party in this matter. So unfortunately, I would not be able to sit and be part of the decision-making process. But I assume I
Okay,
also,
so
if I
go ahead,
choose,
Greg, sorry.
Go ahead, Bill.
You can be at the hearing. Sorry,
okay,
Bill.
that was my only question. But I am.
Yeah, Sure. So you're not going to serve, obviously.
I'd love to, but it wouldn't be proper.
Okay, I appreciate it. So how many do we have, Jill, at this point?
That's 4. We'll have to talk with Greg and see if he's able to attend.
I think Greg lives
there
in that
two-
neighborhood.
Jason does for sure.
I
think-
have a
I think
question.
Greg does too.
I have a question for Attorney Avino. What if we get to the point where we don't have the right number that we need to sit on for this application? What happens then?
Well, we have 4, so we can legally go forward.
All right, I thought, okay,
Obviously, most attorneys are going to prefer 5.
all right,
But we get, by law, if I don't have 5 people who are disinterested, and this is a major thing that came down, and and I understand everybody having some familiarity with the whole situation. So you do your best you can. So right now we have 4 that I think certainly can sit, and then Jill will check. Is it 1 or 2 others that we have left, alternates?
We have 2 other alternates. One is definitely a resident of the neighborhood, and the other very well may be. So we may not have any options there.
Well,
Okay, but let's just find out. We don't have to predict it yet, but let's see if at least one of them does not reside within whatever that distance is that people have been affected.
Yeah.
Okay, may I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, if we side with the previous judgment and the appeal is denied, is Philomena's next step to take it to court and then let a judge rule on it?
Well, it depends right now that the permit was not issued by, I mean, they're interested, but as attorney, I'm representing the zoning officer who reviewed the application and issued the permit.
Right.
So really, the aggrieved party is the zoning officer who would think if she feels that she did her job, but people don't think she did, then that would be the question. So there is precedence where a zoning officer who is not upheld could decide to take an appeal. The next step is court. Yes.
Okay, and so my question is, let's say we uphold the decision, then the appellant's, Philomena's next step is to take it to court for an additional review.
Yeah, I mean, again, if upholding is confusing to me, if you support the officer that she did the correct thing, then
Right.
the party that would choose to take the appeal would be the applicant and those that thought she did not do the correct thing.
All right, so the applicant then, if ruled against again, the applicant could then bump it up for a court review.
Correct.
Right.
So this isn't the end of the line for the applicant. It's just a
And the
confirmation.
applicant is the neighbors, not
Right.
Philomena's.
Yeah. Right. So if the neighbors feel that the officer acted improperly in granting them this type of permit, then the next step for them would be to take it to court.
Oh, so it's not a Philomena's. It's
Yeah. No, they went ahead and applied for a special permit to do limited activity at the site under that permit, which we will explain that night. I don't want to get into too much detail, but
okay. Oh, okay. Because Philomena's against the decision, but now we've got a different permit, so it's a whole different matter than what came before us 2 months ago.
exactly. That's why I wanted to say it's a simple focus on just exactly what they got.
Okay, so all right,
That's yeah.
different point of law to consider here. Different permit, different application. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So that's it. So I think I appreciate all your time and we spent on this for the moment, but we certainly have at least 4. Jill will let me know and check with the other 2. But I would say for now, if you guys can do a motion to set a public hearing, a special meeting and public hearing for that date.
Does somebody want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion that we set a hearing and determine the date.
To be
To be
May 12th.
May 12th.
To be May 12th.
It's a
Do I have a
special.
second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Yep.
Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so moved. All right, do we have
All
any?
right. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
you, thank you, thank you.
Do we have any new
All right,
business,
well-
Jill? Do we have
No,
any new business, any correspondence?
do not.
Okay, does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
I
Thank
second.
Thank you, all in favor?
Aye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye.
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 See you
Good
next month.
Yeah.